As they saw it, they were coming to a green and misty isle. What they hadn't reckoned on was our abundant red tape, which nearly strangled their brave adventure at birth. The plan was to farm organically on a fine farm they bought outside Care in County Tipperary. No chemicals, no artificial fertilizers, just healthy food the way God makes it. Unfortunately, when left to nature, you get lower yields, and that could mean less money. The accepted wisdom of the day was that they'd go broke. They haven't. Instead, they've practically reinvented farming and have set up two little on-farm businesses to process and market their own produce, making more money than the skeptics. And they did it by turning problems into opportunities. They found that Irish millers wouldn't take their organic grain, and certainly wouldn't, at that time, pay the extra premium which organic produce gets elsewhere. So they set up their own mill and went into business.
Today, we are very happy how things go. The demand for Irish organic flour is very nice, developing very nicely, so we are altogether very happy about it.
So you were forced to go into a more profitable business because millers wouldn't take your grain?
That's true. We were forced into it, luckily, because adding value to a product is definitely a good thing for farmers to aim for.
But they didn't stop there. There was the wool to capitalize on.
When you have a sheep in front of you, you really can't ignore the wool. And that's what I always thought, that we should make more from the wool and with the wool. And so for that reason we got colored sheep, and we then started off to get wool made up from that, knitting wool, which we export today to Germany. This wool is free from chemicals on the farming side and on the processing side. And on top of that, we got now blankets made up completely chemical-free from farming to finish. And there's a growing market for chemical-free clothes, because a lot of allergies are developing and many people link them to chemicals in clothes and food.
That wool is cleaned and spun for them under contract, and they do their own marketing under the Ballybrado label. Despite a challenging start and despite having to overcome many problems, they reckon they've made a success of it. And they say, while it is harder work, there is a good future in organic farming, at a time when many conventional farmers wonder if they've any future at all.
EA argue that there's a huge and growing market in mainland Europe for organically produced food, and that this country is the best place to meet that demand, being free of the residues of heavy industrial pollution and industrialised agriculture. They're not looking for subsidies, they say. £100,000 invested now in their association, they say, would allow them to meet the increasing demand by farmers for information. The Taoiseach, however, remains to be convinced.
This percentage is 3%.
Not what I'm discouraged.
Yeah.
Most people who come into me say, look, if you only give us £10 now, we will pay 10 million into it.
Now the reason why...
See, sorry, when they get to £10 now, I never get to 10 million in 10 years' time.
The association rejects the image of organic farming as elitist and expensive.
Now, the consumer reaction has proved this wrong. The market is growing every year by 15 to 20%. And organic agriculture is not looking out for subsidies, for grants, because we claim we have a sustainable system of agriculture. But what we say is a little bit of promotion now is needed to create a market volume of, say, £100 million by the turn of the century, which will be in 10 years' time only. These figures are based on research, and we are not only talking about agricultural production as such, we are talking about a spin-off for tourism. We want to avoid the vast costs for the environmental cleanup now occurring on continental Europe.